Can you play Sea of Thieves solo? The last video I made addressing this topic was uploaded about halfway through 2022. But with how much the game has changed over the course of the last year, how has solo play been impacted? Is it still possible to play solo, or is it just too much of a hassle nowadays? Let's take a look at some of the biggest pros and cons of solo play, and being someone who reached Pirate Legend mostly by playing solo, I'll give you some final thoughts on how the solo experience feels so far in 2023. Sea of Thieves offers a variety of gameplay options, all of which are available to solos, like story-based missions called Tall Tales, different kinds of voyages, and even open-world events. Truthfully, the game is packed full of different ways to play, from hunting down achievements to gathering up all of the treasure you can possibly find. As a solo player, there is nothing stopping you from playing the game exactly how you want to. There's no long-winded conversations about where to go, what to do, and there's never a need to take a majority vote on the next activity. As a solo, you don't have to check with anyone but yourself. One of the main reasons a lot of people play Sea of Thieves solo is for the enhanced immersion. When I say that Sea of Thieves is a beautiful game, I mean that from all angles. The visuals are stylistic and stunning, and the ambience is some of the best I've ever experienced in a video game. A lot of time and effort has been put into the visuals and sound design, as is with most games, but you can really feel it in Sea of Thieves. And typically I've found I can appreciate all of that a little bit more without a crewmate hot micing their favorite TikToks in the background. Sometimes the silence of sailing by yourself really brings out the subtleties of the game, like the soft lapping of the water on the shores and the amazing background music. There's just something fulfilling about setting yourself up to be an underdog and accomplishing the same things as larger crews, even if it might take you a little bit longer to do so in the end. Overcoming difficult challenges and amassing wealth and reputation all on your own can provide a great sense of personal achievement, one that you might not otherwise feel while playing with a crew. Not to mention, once you get good at naval combat, there are few things more satisfying than taking down a ship with a larger crew all by yourself. Playing solo allows you to develop a high level of skill and expertise in various aspects of the game. After all, you don't have any crew members to lean on who can fill in the gaps for your weaknesses. You'll need to learn how to sail, navigate, fight, and manage resources all on your own if you want to survive on the harsh seas. Over time, your ability to handle different situations and overcome obstacles will improve, making you a valuable asset to any crew later down the line if you decide to start playing in a group. More often than not, encounters with other players will result in PvP combat, and as a solo player, you're going to be at a disadvantage when facing coordinated crews. So overall, it's just going to be harder for you to defend against or engage in PvP situations. I won't go into this too much since in my previous 2022 video I covered this concept at length, but really where the main issue lies is enemy crews can take multiple actions on their ship at a time. While they're busy repairing holes, firing cannons, and steering their ship all at once, you can really only do one of those things for yourself. There have been some recent changes over the course of the last year to help out solos, like having the fastest respawn rate on the Ferry of the Damned, and having a stronger mast on the sloop than other ship types, which takes 2 chain shot hits to drop as opposed to 1. But despite these balancing efforts, as a solo, you're usually going to be fighting an uphill battle in PvP. It's also worth mentioning that diving down to treasuries and shrines is much more hazardous as a solo, since you don't have a crewmate to watch your ship, making you completely vulnerable to whoever might be sailing by. Progression in Sea of Thieves can be time-consuming, and sometimes it just pays to have an extra set of hands around so you can divide up the tasks. The difficulty of many encounters in the game are now scaled down for smaller groups so they can complete them much more easily, which is definitely a change in the right direction. Yet it still seems like having a helpful crew alongside you makes everything go a bit faster. From sailing and completing voyages to selling your loot at the end, many of the activities in Sea of Thieves still take a little longer when playing by yourself. And as such, you're going to progress through the game a little more slowly than if you were playing with a crew. Truthfully, some of the most memorable experiences in Sea of Thieves come from the moments with other players. Getting to be part of a really good group who are all working together to take over the sea is an experience you just can't compensate for as a solo player. You're not guaranteed a fun session every time you play with a crew, and the occasional crewmate being a troll can ruin a good time, but some of the most fun battles happen between large crews where everybody is miking in the game and trying their hardest to come out on top. I can personally attest to this, since recently I've been trying out open crew sessions a little more, and more often than not, I'm having a pretty good time. So if you're planning on playing mostly as a solo, you need to be comfortable with the fact you may miss out on the epic battles, hilarious mishaps, and incredible teamwork that can occur when playing with others. So back to the question at hand, can you still play Sea of Thieves solo in 2023? Yes, absolutely. And solo play is in a much better state than it was at the start of 2022. It's important to realize you're essentially playing the game on hard mode by playing solo, but with the changes over the course of the last year, the solo experience in Sea of Thieves has become a much more bearable one. Let me know in the comments what your take is on solo play in Sea of Thieves. My list of pros and cons was pretty general this time to provide a more broad perspective, and I'd love to hear some of your opinions as well. And don't forget to subscribe for even more Sea of Thieves content.